Hey everyone. You know, um, I did a video yesterday, I think, a live video on the Raw Down Rebound Facebook group page talking about this whole situation that a lot of people have been talking about lately over the past 24 to 48 to 72 hours. And that's the situation with Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. Now, in case you guys don't know, Monday Night Raw ended with Becky Lynch attacking Ronda Rousey, then going to the ring, distracting the Raw women's team, allowing the SmackDown women's team and locker room to jump the ring or jump the Raw women's team from behind, and a big old brawl ensued after that. And during this brawl, during this melee, Becky got into the ring, went after Nia Jax, who was, I think, attacking Charlotte or Mandy Rose. I think it may have been Charlotte. And basically what happened, long story short, as she's attacking Nia turns her attention from Charlotte, I believe, turns around and looks at Becky and nails her like this, like that. Ooh. And basically what happened is Becky, because of that, got busted open the hard way, broken nose and everything. And she ended up, I think, got a cut a little bit under her eye or something. And she ended up suffering a concussion. But it didn't look like she suffered a concussion, because the way she was able to leave on her own accord, along with the rest of the women's locker room from SmackDown Live, and having that image of her standing in the crowd, all bloodied and everything, making her, as a lot of people have pretty much pointed out, more badass than she's ever been lately since she's brought in this new persona. Now, it was reported about a day later that Becky was being pulled from Survivor Series due to the fact that she suffered a broken nose and she had suffered a concussion because of that moment. Now, at first, when this was reported by Frightful.com, I, like a lot of fans, was like, nah, it's not true. She can't be injured. This can't be happening. This is not a good time. This is not a good time for this to happen. And unfortunately, it was true. WWE pretty much confirmed later on through the websites, through SmackDown Live itself, that Becky Lynch was being pulled, that she suffered a concussion, and she suffered a broken nose. And Becky, still being the badass chick that she is, pretty much said, hey, if it wasn't for the doctors holding me back, I'd be concussion and all, broken nose and all, I would be in the ring competing against Ronda. She's basically, Becky just said in the promo to where she had to choose her replacement, that if it wasn't for the doctors holding me back, I'd go in there and I would compete despite what's going on with me. So, yeah. So, long story short, she ended up choosing Charlotte to replace her. Now, everybody pretty much has been bombarding Nia Jax with a lot of hate and a lot of disdain. And look, there's an old saying, and I think I said this in my live video on the Raw Down Rebound. Accidents happen. Unintentional accidents and moments happen in sports entertainment or sports of any kind. And I'm not trying to defend Nia here. I think Nia should have been more careful. I think, because, let's be honest, they rehearsed this spot. They went over this spot, this ending spot for Raw earlier in the day. They did. And that Nia probably went over that moment with Becky several times, to the point that when she would nail Becky, it wouldn't knock her down. Or knock her out the way it did, or knock her out of, or put her on the shelf temporarily as it did. So they've had to go over that several times, without a hitch. So apparently, and again, I'm not trying to make excuses for Nia, but my guess is all the women, including Nia, got caught up in the moment, and Nia just happened to be the unfortunate soul that let her emotions of being caught up in this big moment for her and the rest of her fellow women, that when that spot came between her and Becky, that instead of doing it the way they probably rehearsed or went over earlier in the day, she ended up legitimately knocking Becky down and knocking her out, and giving her the broken nose and concussion instead of doing it the way they had gone over earlier on in the day. So my assumption is the women got caught up in the moment. Nia probably got caught up more so than anything because she can be emotional when it comes to big moments, and she instead of doing the spot the way she was supposed to, well, she did it, but she did it a lot more stiffer than what was originally planned. That's my assumption. That's my opinion, my assumption. And it's like a lot of people say, accidents do happen, But what's really hurting Nia, what really hurts Nia and why she's getting so much hate and disrespect and anger from the fans and even from people like Bryan Alveraz and several others, is the fact that she has a track record of injuring people. She does. In fact, just recently before this situation, she injured another SmackDown star, or women's star, in Zelina Vega. Yeah, Zelina Vega got injured in the Evolution Battle Royal by Nia Jax. So she's out, and guess what she's out with? A concussion. I think Ruby Riott even suffered an injury because of Nia. I don't know if she was out with a concussion or some kind of tear or something. I'm not really sure. And then even before that, Bayley ended up getting injured by her. Like I said, Bayley, I was just checking something there. Bayley ended up getting injured by her. And just like here at Survivor Series, it caused Bayley's match with Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam for the Raw Women's Championship to be changed. Alexa, I think, had to get another opponent. I think it was Sasha Banks who beat her for the championship. But the original plan obviously was for Bayley to beat Alexa, but that had to go out the window because Nia Jax had injured Bayley. And then even before that, she injured Talina Dashwood. Talina Dashwood, in case you don't know, is formerly known as Emma in WWE. Yeah, she injured Emma in a match. So when you think about it, she has a very bad track record when it comes to injuring people, most of the time unintentionally. Unintentionally, because maybe there's a miscommunication, or maybe she just gets caught up in the moment. We don't know. But yeah, with a track record like that, it doesn't really help Nia Jax's case. And especially, with all due respect to Nia, it doesn't help when she comes onto social media, posts an image of her fist with a little cut on it, saying something along the lines of, hey, we don't deliver mail, and is anybody going to ask me about how my fist feels? Whether or not you're doing that in character, or you're doing that because that's how you truly are, because she has responded to critics and haters online in a similar fashion, that still, with all due respect, doesn't help your case. And you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of insiders, a lot of alumni, current and past in-ring performers, coming out and saying, look, this has got to stop. This has got to. This has got to stop. This has got to. Somebody's got to put an end to this. Somebody's got to put this woman in her place. And honestly, a lot of people have said, and Bryan Alveraz, I think, said it best. Even Dalyxman said it best. And Dalyxman came out a half hour ago and apologized for his anger. Said he still wasn't letting, but did say he wasn't letting Nia off the hook, but did apologize for letting his anger get the best of him, and that he basically promised not to let that happen again. But he wasn't still letting Nia, but he still wasn't letting Nia off the hook. Point is, even Bryan Alveraz, and I think, like I said, Dalyxman even said this, and a few others have said this, that what WWE needs to do is send Nia Jax back to NXT. Send her back to NXT, send her back to the Performance Center, and have her remain down there, and have her remain at the Performance Center until she learns how to work safely. Because, I'll be honest, the only reason Nia Jax got rushed up the way she was is because she has that look that Vince McMahon likes, which is ironic because she's female. With all due respect, I say that with all due respect, but she basically has that build that Vince McMahon likes in male and females, and most importantly, she's related to The Rock. And how do we know this? Because after she won the Evolution Battle Royal, they showed her embracing The Rock's mom. So basically, they're very high on her. But here's the problem. You could be high on somebody like a Nia Jax because of who they're related to. It doesn't mean that you should be pushing them to the moon, or you should be rushing them up to your main roster because you want to feature them on television, because you still want to show some kind of connection to The Rock or whatever. It doesn't mean you should be fast tracking them to the roster if you of all people know that they're not totally ready yet. And that's pretty much what's going on here. Nia Jax is, how do I put this? Despite the fact she's had some decent matches, she's still learning on the job. And, a lot of people are wondering, will there be any repercussions? Will she face any repercussions for what she did? I mean, she basically robbed not just the fans and the hardcore fans, but she robbed WWE of potentially one of its biggest matchups at Survivor Series, and potentially a match that could have closed out Survivor Series in the eyes of a lot of people, like, Bryan Alveraz, Jason Solomon, Solomonster Sounds Off, Dalyxman, and many others. She robbed them of that because of what she did. And a lot of people are wondering, just taking my time there, but a lot of people are wondering, are there going to be any repercussions? And I think, honestly, if there's no repercussions, then it shows that WWE, with all due respect, values Nia Jax because of her connection to The Rock over potentially what is the hottest act right now overall in WWE in Becky Lynch. It would show that they favor Nia over Becky. And I know some people are probably sitting there listening to this, or have read over and listened to what other people have said, and they're probably conspiring and thinking, maybe WWE isn't going to punish Nia because maybe they wanted someone to do this to Becky, so it knocks some sense back into Becky to not take her new character or persona so seriously. Maybe people are thinking that's what WWE... That's what people, I think, I should say. That's what I think a lot of people are going to start thinking if there's no repercussions, if WWE doesn't punish Nia over this, or show some kind of repercussions on Nia over this. They're basically going to start thinking that WWE favors her over Becky, and that maybe they were glad she did this to Becky to knock some sense into her. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, you know, everybody's wondering if there's going to be repercussions of any kind. And I think, honestly, there's going to be. I think there should be. You know, even though Nia didn't mean intentionally, probably, to do it, to, you know, put Becky on the shelf. You know, because, you know, she probably got caught up in the moment like the rest of the women did. My honest opinion, though, is yes, she should face some kind of punishment. And I think there's several options. You could have her lose her championship opportunity against Ronda. Maybe you do a story angle to where Team Raw loses, the women's Team Raw loses, and you have Becky confront Alexa because of that, basically saying what were you thinking by putting Ruby on the same team along with Nia, knowing their history and knowing the fact that could have what caused Team Raw's women's team to lose because they would cancel each other out. And then you could just play it up to where Alexa would say, well, I'm hurt, I'm concussed. And then you could have Stephanie say, well, no, you're not. In fact, when you were named the captain, you were pretty much cleared from that time forward. You know, and you could just go with maybe Stephanie wondering what it's going to take for Alexa to get back in the ring, or at least stop avoiding these kind of confrontations. And you could have Alexa say, look, you want me to stop avoiding the confrontations? Give me back my women's championship. Let me have another shot at the Raw Women's Championship. And you go from there. Maybe you have Alexa say, you know what? You give me Nia Jax next week in a match where the winner where if I win, I get Nia Jax opportunity against Ronda Rousey. There you go. You know, problem solved. You could have Alexa go over Nia in some screwy fashion, and Alexa goes on to face Ronda, and Nia's out of the picture. Or if you intend to go through with Nia versus Ronda, the other punishment you could do is you could have Ronda squash Nia in under a minute. You can have her squash Nia in under a minute at TLC and be done with it. Or what you could do is you could have Ruby Riott win the match for Team Raw, be the sole survivor, since you're pushing her anyway. Have her basically confront Stephanie McMahon and say, look, you know, I survived, I won the match for your team. If anybody should be in the championship match against Ronda, it should be me. And you go from there. You have Ruby then say, you know what? You know, you have Ruby confront maybe Nia Jax and say, how about I face you tonight, and if I beat you, I take your spot. Something like that. Or again, and I'm just taking my time here, or again, if you're intending to go through with Nia and Ronda, maybe throw this moment in as part of kind of a work shoot, a story angle, and have the stipulation that if Ronda wins, Nia Jax has to go back to NXT and the Performance Center and remain there until she knows how to work correctly or play well with others correctly. So those are some possible options, but I think the overall option, in my opinion, is you have her lose her championship opportunity, and then maybe you just have her job out for a while till she learns her lesson. I don't know. But again, I don't think she intentionally meant for it to happen. I think she just got caught up in the moment like all the other ladies did. This unfortunate accident ended up happening. So, but that's really all I have to say on it, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Do you agree with what I think the punishment should be? And for Nia, the repercussions, if you will. And that's all I'm going to say, guys. So till next time, God bless, take care. But let me know what you guys think. And those are just my thoughts on this whole situation.